Mautamasi, bringing you the latest happenings in dancehall and reggae music. Welcome, it's Mautamasi, and here are the stories making the cut for today. Posthumous criminal charges laid on cult leader Kevin Smith. Members of the Pathways International Church charged. Cult pastor ex-friend bust out more secrets. Stay tuned for the stories in detail, and remember to follow me on Instagram at Mauta_Masi. Nationwide News understands that posthumous multiple criminal charges have been laid on former Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries leader Kevin Smith. The late cult leader has been charged with 2 counts of murder and conspiracy to commit murder. He has also been posthumous charged with wounding with intent and illegal possession of firearm and ammunition. The procedural posthumous charges were laid today. The double murder charges are in connection with the sacrificial killings of cult members Tanika Gardner and Michael Brown. Gardner's throat was allegedly cut by another church member, Andre Ruddock, in the instructions of Smith. Allegations are Mr. Brown had checked himself out of hospital where he was being treated for kidney failure in order to attend the service where he was killed. Statements given to the police indicate that Smith directed that several tubes which were connected to Mr. Brown be ripped out. When the tubes were ripped out by a loyalist of Smith, some church members rushed to assist Brown, but Smith reportedly instructed that Brown be left to die. Brown subsequently bled to death. Smith died in a motor vehicle accident on Monday. A policeman, Constable Orlando Irons, also died in the accident. Meantime, Andre Ruddock, who has been charged with the murder of Tanika Gardner, has been ordered to reappear in court on November 3rd. Ruddock appeared in the Home Circuit Court in downtown Kingston today in connection with the sacrificial killings 2 weeks ago at the Pathways Ministry in St. James. Ruddock reportedly told the court that he does not have legal representation. The court ordered that a lawyer be assigned to Ruddock. Director of Public Prosecutions, Queen's Counsel Paula Llewellyn led proceedings on behalf of the Crown today when Ruddock appeared in the Home Circuit Court. Ruddock was a close associate of the late cult leader Kevin Smith. Members of the Pathway Ministry say Ruddock was regarded as the right-hand man of the controversial cult leader. I have another update for you, Massive. It relates to the charge that 39 members got for breaching the DRMA. The JCF posted on their IG, and I'll read it for you. The 39 members of the Pathway International Kingdom Restoration Ministries, who were last week charged under the Disaster Risk Management Act (DRMA), were fined a total of $1,170,000 Jamaican dollars when they appeared in the St. James Parish Court on Wednesday, October 27. The 39 persons who were charged following last week's incident at the church all pleaded guilty to the charges and were each fined 30,000 Jamaican dollars or 2 days in prison. No, Massive, the story gets even spicier. Here is one of Kevin Smith's friend. They were friends from they were 14 years old, and Massive, she come for talk some things about him, some things that I never did air. Here goes.
Hi, Dr. Love.
How you doing? What's going on?
Not too bad.
Yeah.
How's everything going?
Everything is good over here. How is everything on your side?
It's shocking, you know.
It's shocking?
It's very shocking.
Right.
To know that somebody who you personally know did all of this. And it's so big all over the media. It's crazy.
And let me say something to you before you go. Okay. Sometimes when I bring on people on the live, you have to don't pay attention to the comment them, whatever they're saying. Focus on me, right? Because some of these people,
it's all good.
Them not really right up here, so. And some of them have mental problem. Some of them have uncle and brother and daddy walk around and feel people girl fit and people boy fit. So you have to see with them.
For sure.
Right.
It's been a norm in the culture of Jamaica for these things to happen, and people just accept it.
Right. And let's clarify one thing, because I'm trying to explain to them that the man dead, and them not understand that the man dead. They are saying that in Ghana, one different country and all kind of something. So me I try to explain that in dead, in Ghana, dead. In spirit,
he's dead.
Right.
He was actually telling them in the police station that he was gonna die, but they didn't understand what he was saying.
In his language. That's exactly what it
was. In terms of prophecy. Right. They didn't understand what he was saying. Right. But they were just laughing and joking. I know Kevin since he was 14 years old. Right. I went to church with him.
Wow.
So that man never worked a day in his life.
Right.
He was preaching for all of his life.
Right.
And once he became over 18, he got married. He had a wife.
Mm-hmm.
And he was actually caught here in Canada with multiple different men. But he found a scheme in Jamaica where he could manipulate and trick the system and trick the people.
Right. So the church, so you and him was going to the same church?
We were going to the same church since we were kids.
Wow. And what was his life in Canada? What was his life like in Canada? Of people liking him or the relationship wise before he got married?
Well, people loved him because guess what? He was young and he proclaimed himself to be a prophet.
Right.
And he was always hearing from God. For some reason, he said he was always hearing from God, but everything that God told him was to kill people or this stuff is going to happen to you. Right. Everything was like doom and gloom for him.
Right.
It wasn't anything necessary good.
Right.
Everything was just, and him collecting, offering late fees when you get to church. That's typically what he learned in Toronto. He learned it from all the bishops. So all the bishops here loved him because he was 14, 15, 17, and they groomed him. And once he tried to sleep with my friend, who is a male, who is a boy,
right.
And we went to pastor with it. Pastor denied it. Then we went to the overseer. Overseer denies it.
Right.
And they still had Kevin traveling all over preaching and ministering to people until his wife actually caught him with a man multiple times. Then he migrated to Jamaica.
Wait.
And
they said that he was arrested in Canada.
He was not to my knowledge. He was never arrested in Canada. Kevin was always preaching. He traveled to Africa. Even years before, Kevin was always in England. You can even look it up on YouTube. He's been in England.
Right, they said that he was in jail for 6 months before he was deported back to Jamaica. That's the news I saw that they said the police said, because the lawyer was confirming that I guess she must have spoke to the police in Canada and they said he was he was in jail for 6 months for having sexual assault with a 21-year-old.
He's been with multiple men.
Right.
Men.
Does he have any kids?
He has one child.
Oh, you have one?
That is unknown. So church is a thing where they hide and cover things because no one would ever come out and say, I know Kevin personally. I've been Kevin's best friend. Everybody right now, they're in a disarray. They're surprised and they're hiding.
Right.
They're hiding. And in order for Kevin to be a bishop, there's other churches out there under him. That's one thing you need to know. Right. So if he's Bishop Kevin Smith, that means there's other churches. And there's other churches doing the same thing that Kevin has done.
Right. So do you know if the child living in Canada or where the child is living, if it's a girl or it's a boy?
It's a daughter, to my knowledge. Yeah.
Okay, so he does have one kid, and then he was married in Canada, right?
Right.
So was his wife? His wife was going to the same church?
They were going to my sister church. Like they say sister church. Like right now, I don't go to church. I don't have nothing to do with church.
Right.
There's so many stuff that's happened in church that I don't want to be a part of that garbage.
Right.
And yeah.
Okay.
Once Kevin was caught with one of my friends who made a complaint to the pastor, and they covered it, and they actually disgrace you and say, you know, this is a spiritual man. He would never do anything like this. And, you know, do you know who you're talking about and all this stuff? Then, you know, it's just time for you to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think that when he was in Jamaica and so forth, running the church, do you think that he was still down there having sexual relationship with boys and all of that?
Of course, he was doing that the whole time. You know, it would only take a fool to know that he was not having relations with men and little young boys. Right. Because his main focus was on men. He always disgraced women. He had no love for women. He's always had no love for women and no respect for women.
I just said that I was watching a video with him, and when the lady gave him the $200, he said to the lady, say $200, when he said $200 can't feed your Chink family.
Jing Bang Pekingese.
Yeah, and then the guys then give him the money. His body language towards the guys and was always a present way, because they said that
present.
He has three. They said they have 3 little boys that living in the house with him. That's what I heard. I don't know how true it is and so forth. But where do you think he get this money to build this house? Was he? But wait a minute. They said that he was also a dealer in Canada too. That's what they said.
No, that Dr. Love. What I know. Okay, when you're a preacher, when you're a minister, remember, Kevin is a master manipulator, right? He went to Bible college. So he studied psychology. Right. Like he's a master manipulator. Right. So he went to school. When you are a preacher, you get paid to be a preacher. Once you go to any church to preach, that's your money. Right. And people are collecting offering for you 2 or 3 times more. And plus you get like a big check cut to you. So that's enough for him to live off. Since he was 14, he's never lifted a straw in his life. He's never worked like, honest bread. It's just all church money.
So do you know if his wife is still alive?
Obviously, she's still alive. But if they're church people, they're not going to come out. I would love for her to say her piece on the man she really knew, or who knows if she's going to come out. You get it? But Kevin is a person that does not respect women. Right. He's always humiliate women. Always. And for all these women to be talking about him like he's some god, he is not. What they use on you it's called conversational hypnosis. Right. So there are certain words that they say and they hypnotize you and they put you under a spell. And that's how these preachers can get you to do certain things without you knowing. And that's how he could get these police officers to be shooting after other police officers, because they're hypnotized and they're under a spell.
So let me ask you a question. What do you think happened in that car? Yes, wait, before I go there. What I noticed is that when he was in the police station, there was something funny about his whole conversation and his chanting, he was chanting and so forth, right? Right. What do you really think have happened? Because you know him. You know him very well. We don't really want to see him and so forth. You grew up with him. You was in the same environment with him and so forth. What do you think happened to him in that car yesterday?
I think when he was in this is spiritually deep.
Right.
I think when he was in the police station, he was telling him their destiny. Because I think for him to have this plan that he's going to slaughter 144 people, I think what he was doing, the devil requires more blood. Whoever's in those kind of rituals, they always want more blood.
Right.
So I think that was to buy him more time, right? Whatever deal he makes. If you notice, he operates like the African church.
Right.
And some of the stuff that he's learned it in Toronto, you know, under certain bishops. So the power that he's operating under did not buy him, whatever happened at the church, it didn't buy him enough time because he didn't get to slaughter all the people that he wanted to. So he knew that it was going to be the end for him. Right?
Okay.
And I think Kevin knew it was time to go. And he was never going to tell on anybody who was involved. He would have never. If you know Kevin, if you look at his interview, he was just smiling. And he was telling them, rapture means rape. And he was talking like effeminate, like almost like he's a lady. Right. And then he started to prophesy that God called him since he was 9 years old and all of this and all of that. So I think Kevin, whatever demon that was working with him, I think it worked and caused an accident.
And then
he's under, he's under some.
Right. I mean,
go ahead.
And then the young man, which is the policeman that died in the car accident, because I was talking to a spiritual leader yesterday, and I said that young man in the car, that is also a part of sacrifice. Because whatever happened in the car yesterday, it did have to happen.
Yeah.
And I get to understand that they had a police officer that, based on what have happened and the way Kevin was, they probably don't even make it, right? And and what they were saying that what behind the scene was saying is that when he left the police station, the higher spirit that he was working with, right, that he tapped into, was just waiting for the perfect time to make whatever happened and so forth. And when you look at him with the whole accident and the way he died and so forth, you could see that something terribly went wrong, and those police officers see something in the car, whatever it is. They know what it is, and they probably never lived to tell the story, which one died and so forth. And with that and so forth, one thing, I said this before of what my spiritual ways tell me, that I do believe that there's body at that church and there's body at his home buried. Do you know him?
I think Kevin was always doing this. He just got busted. He was always doing this. Look at those people who he rented the place to. He chained them in the house. I think he was always getting foreigners from abroad and slaughtering them. And because Jamaica is so slack, they haven't figured it out that this man has been murdering people for years. And I think the church is buried on a lot of dead people. And they need to do forensic scene. They need to mow that shit down and just, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's it for today, Massive Montana. Big up on a nice clean self. Enough love, enough respect. Blessings upon blessings upon blessings. Positive vibrations going out to the Massive. I'm out of Massey. Magan.
Mount Massey. Mount Massey. Covering the latest in Jamaican music and culture. Like, share, comment, and subscribe now.